You know, some of the most powerful stories are about a complete 180-degree change of heart. And today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most dramatic ones in the Gospel of John, the story of Nathanael. We're going to see how he went from a total skeptic to a true believer.
Okay, so here's how we're going to walk through this. First, we'll meet Nathanael the skeptic. Then we'll get right into that wild, unexpected encounter he has with Jesus. We're going to break down what it even means to be a man without guile, then get to that jaw-dropping moment under the fig tree, and finally, we'll hear his incredible confession. So let's start at the beginning. When we first meet Nathanael, he's not in a great place. His entire outlook seems to be shaped by this deep sense of hopelessness, and it all comes tumbling out in one single famous question.
I mean, can you believe that? His friend Philip runs up to him, excited, saying they found the Messiah, and this is his response? This one question tells you everything you need to know about his state of mind. It's just dripping with prejudice, sure, but there's also this real despair underneath it. Like, maybe nothing good can come from anywhere.
So you might be wondering, what's the big deal about Nazareth? Well, it was a huge deal. Nathanael wasn't just being a snob, this was a common viewpoint. Nazareth was this little obscure town on the edge of things, and it was seen as kind of tainted because it did business with non-Jews. Seriously, it was a last place anyone would expect the promised Messiah to come from.
So when you put it all together, you get this picture of a guy who's really struggling. On the inside, he's dealing with despair, probably tired of getting his hopes up. On the outside, he's spouting the prejudice of his culture. But here's the key. His friend Philip doesn't argue with him. He just gives him the best invitation possible. Come and see for yourself.
All right, so Nathanael, probably still grumbling under his breath, decides to go. He agrees to come and see. And this is where the entire story just completely pivots. The moment he actually comes face to face with Jesus, everything changes.
And get this, before Nathanael can even open his mouth, before he can voice his skepticism, Jesus greets him with this incredible statement. He doesn't even bother with the whole Nazareth issue. He just looks right into Nathanael's soul and speaks to the real man standing there. Now, this greeting, it isn't just a nice compliment. It's a deep, profound revelation of who Nathanael truly is, and it absolutely disarms him. So what on earth does it actually mean to be without guile?
This is where it gets really interesting. The original Greek word here is doulos, and it means deceit, hypocrisy, even bait. So what Jesus is basically saying is, yeah, I heard what you said about Nazareth, but I see past that cynical shell. At your core, you're an honest man. You're straightforward. You're not a fake.
But hold on, because the insight goes even deeper. Jesus doesn't just see Nathanael's honest personality, he sees his spiritual identity. When he calls him an Israelite indeed, he's saying you're not just ethnically Jewish, you're one who truly believes what God has promised. You're genuinely looking for the Messiah.
And this is the moment that just shatters everything for Nathanael. Jesus has seen his character. He's seen his faith. But now he reveals something so personal it could only be supernatural.
I mean, can you even imagine? Nathanael is just floored. His mind must be racing. How? How could you possibly know me like this? He's a total stranger from a town you're supposed to look down on, and yet this man sees right through him.
And Jesus' answer is so simple, so direct, but it is loaded with a specific meaning that only Nathanael could possibly understand. This one sentence changes everything. Okay, so the fig tree, this isn't just a random detail. In that culture, the shade of a fig tree was like your own private sanctuary. It was a place you'd go to be alone, to meditate, to pray. So when Jesus says, I saw you under the fig tree, he's saying so much more. He's saying, I was with you in your most private moment of worship. I know the despair you were wrestling with. I know the deepest longings of your heart.
And just like that one sentence, all that prejudice against Nazareth, all that deep-seated skepticism, it just evaporates. It's gone. And what replaces it is this immediate, explosive, and powerful confession of faith.
Just look at that response. There's no hesitation. It's not a gradual acceptance. It is absolute and immediate. In a single breath, he goes from, can anything good come from Nazareth, to declaring Jesus' identity on 3 huge monumental levels. This really shows how complete his transformation was. He calls him Rabbi, the great teacher Israel was promised. Then he says the Son of God, acknowledging his divinity. And finally, the King of Israel, the Messiah, the King they've all been waiting for. It's a total, all-encompassing recognition.
So in the span of just a few minutes, in one single conversation, Nathanael travels this vast spiritual distance. He goes from a man who is basically blinded by his own prejudice and despair to someone who sees the truth with absolute perfect clarity.
And that's really the question his story leaves us with, isn't it? It forces us to stop and ask ourselves, what are our blind spots? What are our Nazareths? You know, the prejudices, the assumptions, the cynical ideas we hold on to that might be keeping us from seeing the truth, even when it's standing right in front of us.